At noon, it's the 4th of July, and we'll take a look at how parts of the four-state area is celebrating.
And we've got an alert day today. Mother Nature putting on her own fireworks show later. The possibility of severe thunderstorms, large hail, and damaging winds. We'll have a look at that forecast coming up.
Plus, before you fire up the grill for the holiday, you should be aware of foodborne illnesses. We'll have tips to keep your 4th of July guests safe.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Happy Independence Day. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Noe. Today's holiday is accompanied by an alert day as extreme heat and severe thunderstorm chances are expected across the area. Let's go straight to Chris Warner for a look at our 4th of July forecast.
Yeah, we're starting with a look outside. Right now, it looks pretty good. It's quite breezy. We've had winds out of the northwest. They're going to begin to shift out of the southwest a little later this afternoon, gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour. It looks great. It's already heating up outside, though, with a few clouds here and there. Yesterday, started the day at 80. So, look, we started the day 9 degrees cooler than what our average high is. We only made it up to 92. Not that anybody was complaining about that. Unfortunately, a different story for us today as we're continuing to heat up. Heat advisories continue in our southern counties through 9 o'clock this evening. Down there, heat index values could reach 110 degrees. Outside of that, could see a heat index values of 100 to 105. Now, again, this boundary hasn't fully retreated north. So as we mentioned this morning, some of our northwestern counties a little cooler, but the majority of us into the upper 80s, a lot of low to mid 90s already out there. We're going to have those thunderstorm chances increasing this evening, say after 5 o'clock, and some of those could be severe. We're going to take an in-depth look at those storm chances, that severe threat, and what happens behind this cold front here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, 4th of July celebrations have kicked off across the four states, including festivities in the town of Hepler, Kansas. Here's a look at the 45th annual Hepler Rodeo. This morning, celebrations kicked off with the parade, and the day is filled with fun and games for all. And later, the fun continues with an open rodeo and, of course, some fireworks. More 4th of July celebrations will be booming across the four states today, including in the city of Pittsburgh. This is 4th of July celebrations at Lincoln Park, Joplin's Independence Day celebrations at Missouri Southern, and the Buffalo Run celebration in Ottawa County. For a full list of four-state July 4th events, you can check out our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. The 4th of July festivities around the four states rolled on last night into Carl Junction, Missouri, and the Carl Junction Area Chamber of Commerce hosted the Firecracker on Wheels decorating party. Kids of all ages could come out with everything from bikes to trikes to scooters to anything else with wheels and decorate them in patriotic style.
But what we've done is usually we have lots of kids that'll show up and they bring their bikes and decorate them. So instead of them having to do that early in the morning, we offer the building for them to come so that they can decorate their bikes here this evening. Our church leaders, they're out there decorating the church float. So we're getting all that done tonight too.
Kids showed off their patriotic wheels during Carl Junction's 4th of July parade this morning. A church in Joplin was also getting in on the 4th of July action yesterday. Celebration Church hosted a celebration of freedom. The family-friendly event featured food, bounce houses, games, worship, and capped off with an outdoor movie viewing. Officials say it's a way to bring the community together.
Seeing the kids' smiles on their faces. I love seeing the people, just excited to be together, the fellowship, the relationships, and then obviously just overeating and just, it's part of where we are.
I think the best things people can get from it is just, the realization that they're able to come out and show how much they love their country. There's no barriers here. There's nothing that holds you back. You just can go out and express how much you love it.
The event also featured live music, kickball, and cornhole. Well, some international students at Pitt State also got in on the Independence Day celebrations. The intensive English program held its own party yesterday with about 60 Japanese and Taiwanese students. They got to share food, experiences, and learn about what the holiday means to the nation.
So we really want to give them that full experience of what the American culture is, especially these American holidays, because they are vastly different from the ones they experience back home. We try to give them a new experience, see what American culture is like, try to get them interacting with different locals, and try to really learn truly what it is to be American.
The intensive English class will also be hosting a canoe and kayaking event with lawn games and a cookout at the University Lake on July 16th. Well, if you're firing up the grill this 4th of July, hold your hot dogs. The CDC says rates of foodborne illnesses increase in these warm and festive summer months. Michael George has some tips to keep your cookout safe.
It's a sound we love to hear, that sizzle on the grill. But no one wants a holiday cookout to end with someone getting sick. The CDC estimates there are about 48 million cases of foodborne illnesses in the U.S. every year, with 128,000 hospitalizations and 3,000 deaths.
During the summer months, rates of foodborne illness increases.
USDA food safety specialist Kenneth King says there are ways to prevent that from happening, starting with properly cooking meat and poultry.
The only way to know your meat and poultry is fully cooked is by using a food thermometer to measure its internal temperature.
Experts also say to thaw meat or poultry first, marinate in the refrigerator, keep raw meat and poultry separate from other foods, and keep the smoker and grill at a safe temperature.
For grills, you can do 300 degrees as well.
Always start with a clean grate, getting rid of any built-up grease and burnt food. One of the biggest factors in foodborne illness is simply the heat. Above 90 degrees, food that's left out can spoil faster and potentially make you sick.
We have a rule: keep your hot foods hot and your cold foods cold.
Use a slow cooker or chafing dish to keep things warm, and put salads or cold foods on an ice tray.
Please keep an eye on that ice to make sure you're switching it out as the ice melts.
Tips to keep your 4th of July safe and delicious. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Signs of foodborne illness include cramps, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. And if you suspect you're ill, you should see a doctor immediately. Well, coming up, the courthouse in Carthage, Missouri reopens for business after extensive water damage shuts it down. And later, we're making watermelon lemonade in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Authorities concluded an investigation into the discovery of a body at the scene of a house fire in Anderson, Missouri. The fire happened early Monday on Park Street. Authorities found a woman's body inside the home. Now an investigation and autopsy indicate the woman, 52-year-old Gina McCormick, set fire to the building, then fatally shot herself. Authorities say they do not suspect foul play. Local firefighters recover after battling a fire in this high heat index when crews responded to a house fire near Golden City, Missouri late Tuesday afternoon. The house was already engulfed with flames visible from all sides. One firefighter was taken to the hospital for heat exhaustion and smoke inhalation. A second was treated on the scene. The house was a total loss. The controlled burn in Jasper County, Missouri gets out of control yesterday afternoon just north of Dinoweg. Authorities say it spread quickly, covering about 25 acres, but it did not threaten any buildings. Firefighters tell us despite some recent rain, much of the area is still relatively dry. Area fire departments asked the public to reach out to them before performing a controlled burn. Well, offices at the Jasper County Courthouse are back in operation after a pipe burst earlier this year, causing the flooding and destruction of many of the offices. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more.
I'm tickled to death that everybody's back here and the staff has expressed the same thing.
The county collector, as well as many other offices at the Jasper County Courthouse, have been reopened to the public. County Collector Steve McIntosh received a not-so-pleasant phone call on January 17th earlier this year.
When I got here, there's no power. People were all over the place. The sheriff, my chief deputy, and her husband are in here. They beat me in here. 2 inches of water on the floor, ceiling tile falling down, water gushing down on us. It's like, wow.
Over the past 6 months, he's watched as a renovation that took 2 years to complete was torn out.
2.5-year remodel that we had just finished, not even a week before.
However, the issues didn't stop there.
It got worse when they had to abate the lead-based paint on the ceiling. That took all the ceiling grid down, took all the drywall out of here.
All staff were moved over to the collector's office in Joplin, and taxpayers either had to solely conduct their business online or make the commute to Joplin.
Hey, we had a few complaints, but if you look at the number of people we serve and deal with on a regular basis, daily basis, it was a very small number because most people understood.
Now the time has come for taxpayers to make their way back to the courthouse, where operations will continue as usual. Reporting in Carthage, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Well, McIntosh went on to say he's grateful for the public's patience, and you can find this whole story and previous coverage of the courthouse flood on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. Well, still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Nothing is more summary than what we're making today. And since we can throw it together in 5 minutes, we still have plenty of time to make it before the gang shows up.
But first, we've got an alert day today. Strong to severe thunderstorms possible as we head into the evening hours. We'll have a look at that forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. So as we've mentioned, we have an alert day today due to the possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms as we head into the evening hours across the area. So let's take a look at our severe risk for today. Slight good news here in that they have trimmed up the hail and wind risks, those low risks, just a little bit out of southeast Kansas. But we still have the chance for an isolated tornado. We also have that low hail risk across most of the area. And again, our bigger concern with the storms tonight is get elevated wind risk, winds 60, 70 miles an hour out there. So again, if you've got plans this evening, you need to make sure that you've got backup plans as well. We've been reading through some of these storm reports from winds out in Kansas, winds at Table Rock Lake. There was a person that was killed in Russell, Kansas, when a bunch of campers and other things overturned at a campsite. So you've got to take it seriously if you are planning to be out tonight, that you are prepared to take shelter if needed. So by the time we hit 4 o'clock, we start to see a few of those isolated showers and storms, and they'll continue to roll in by late evening. As you can see, unfortunately, some of these new updates from earlier this morning have slowed this down a bit. We're not starting to see the bulk of the thunderstorm activity until a little later. Initially, we were looking closer to 6, 7 o'clock. Now it's back an hour or so, but we are still looking at scattered thunderstorms out there, and this is where our window for severe thunderstorms will be, is between roughly, let's say, 7 and 11 p.m. A few lingering showers and storms by midnight, and then it won't be until early tomorrow morning that the last of these get out of here. So again, just make sure you've got alternate plans and you've got a safety plan in place if you are out and these storms start to roll into your location. On top of that, we still have, again, those heat advisories down in our southern counties through 9 this evening. 110-degree heat index values possible down there. And then outside of that, still a 100 to 105-degree heat index possible as well. Looks great other than the fact that it's hot from our camera at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. 93 feels like 101. So that's why I was saying, even though Joplin itself, Jasper County, is not under a heat advisory, outside of that zone, it's still going to be very hot. West-southwest breeze at about 15 miles an hour. So here's that boundary, and we mentioned this morning it was going to slowly come back north, and it's not expected to retreat all the way back, which is why some of that severe risk has been removed from the northwestern counties in our viewing area, because that boundary is not going to get back far enough, which also means, since you're still behind it, look at Yates Center, Iola. The other day, you guys had some of the highest temperatures out there. Now you got some of the coolest in the low 80s. The rest of us along into the south of that boundary, upper 80s and low to mid 90s. And then those heat index values already very uncomfortable. Now, just because you're cooler in Iola and Yates Center, you still have a heat index. Still feels muggy out there. But as you get around and south of that boundary, look at some of these heat index values. Commerce at 107, Veneta 108. So it is a very uncomfortable day, to say the least. So through the majority of this day, until we get to the early evening hours, this hot, variable clouds, 98, so upper 90s for most of us. Southwest breeze around 5 to 10, gusts to 20 miles an hour. Then we'll get those thunderstorms in here. Now, the wind is calm once this system actually rolls through, once this boundary pushes through. But otherwise, take a look at that, too. Drops our temperatures down into the mid-60s for our lows, which does keep all of us a bit cooler. It's still warm tomorrow. I'm not crazy. I know that's still warm, but it's a lot cooler than where we have been, a lot cooler than today. Still breezy as well, mid-80s. Then as we look into the weekend, it's a brief break from the heat. Temperatures start to climb again. A few storms possible Sunday evening. And then we are also looking at showers and thunderstorms, or at least pop-up storm chances as we head toward the end of next week. We also see those temperatures start climbing right back up there again into the mid-90s.
Not the most ideal day for the 4th of July, but alrighty. Thanks, Chris. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. Well, stick around. We're making watermelon lemonade in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Howard is showing us how to make watermelon lemonade in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Happy 4th of July. Today's the day that no matter what else you have going on, we should carve out a few minutes to think about how fortunate we are to have our independence. It's also a day that many of us will be firing up the grill, heading to the park, or maybe just staying at home and making something that feels tasty and summery. So whether that's hot dogs and burgers, fall apart ribs, or simply a big fill-you-up salad, we have just the thing to wash it down. It's watermelon lemonade, and I promise once you try it, it'll be your new summertime favorite. To make it, all we do is cut up some watermelon into chunks and puree it in a blender. This takes seconds. Now, this goes into a large pitcher along with some cold water, lemon juice, and some sugar. After we mix this together, it's ready to serve over ice. And whether you serve this as is or spiked with a little vodka or rum, for an adult-only version, let me tell you, the combo of the fresh watermelon and the lemon makes this a real thirst quencher. So go online now and get the recipe for our watermelon lemonade, because you still have plenty of time to make it before everyone comes over. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, wishing you a 4th filled with lots of, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, we got that alert day today. Strong to severe thunderstorms possible in the next few hours. So we're going to say between 6 and 11 p.m. tonight. So if you have 4th of July plans, make sure you are prepared. Again, also hot heat index values, 110 to the south, 100 to 105 for everyone else. A little cooler tomorrow. We heat up into the weekend. More storms Sunday and more storms by the end of next week.
Alrighty, thanks, Chris. Well, coming up tonight at 5, fireworks celebrations can be traumatizing to our four-legged friends. Tonight in Health Watch, we'll have tips on how to keep your dog safe and happy this Independence Day. Plus, we'll have more from the Hepler Rodeo and all of its July 4th festivities, and a look at Pittsburgh's 4th of July celebrations and fishing derby. You can join us for those stories and more on KOAM News at 5. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. Have a great rest of your holiday.